Welcome back, Blood Bowl coaches, to Season 7 of the Bugman's Champions League. I'm Denny, and as always, I'm with my partner, my Riders rookie, DJ. Today we're going to go over last round, which was round 6. We're going to look at the standings, give our predictions for match 7, and then we're going to go over the standout coaches and players. Getting close to the end of the season. This is only an 8-week season, or 8-game season. So we're getting to crunch time. Some teams have already solidified their spots for a playoff berth. Oak City and Church Mountain Tar Hooves. Everybody's still in the fight, so we'll go into detail. So let's just start off with last round. My Shifting Sands had a big game against the Rocky Mountain Marauders. Ended up with a 1-0 victory. Oak City Ghoulies had a 2-1 victory versus the Sundrop Snotflingers. And they remain the only team that has won every game. So they're doing really well. Deep Freeze had a 2-1 victory versus the Clayton Cutters. The Amazons picked up their win, 1-0 win against the Gettysburg Steelers. The Coconut Cloppers ended up with a 2-1 victory versus the Dark Elf team. And Mirkwood Marauders had a 3-0 victory against the Fumblebees. Now let's go back to standings. So again, Oak City Ghoulies still undefeated with 5 wins, 0 losses. Right below them, the Tar Hooves with 3 wins, 2 draws. And these two teams have clinched a playoff berth. And then the next few teams are pretty much level. It's still in kind of the mid zone, so anybody could take the next 3 spots. But I think the top 2 have pretty much been set. Shifting Sands, which is my Tomb Kings, 3 wins, draw and loss are the same as the Van's Norse, Green's Dark Elves, and the Coconut Cloppers. Just right below them, Mirkwood Marauders have really done fantastic and have had 3 wins and 2 losses. So they're just racking up some points and really starting to level their players up. Greg's Amazon team has got 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. And then the Rocky Mountain Marauders, 3 draws, a win, and a loss. In 10th place, we've got the Gettysburg Steelers, 4 losses and a win, same as the Sundrop Snotflingers, which is a Goblin team. And then bringing up the rear, we've got 3 losses and 2 draws with the Fumblebees. This is a Goblin team as well. The Clayton Cutters, 4 losses and a draw. And then Dumbo's Elephants with 5 losses. Let me get my notes out for this game. So, Gettysburg Steelers and Shifting Sands, they're going to be having no inducements. Their team value is almost identical. John is going to be running 2 journeymen for this game. I was going to give my prediction of a 1-0 victory for Shifting Sands. It just kind of depends on how it's going to work. If he can knock out a couple of my players early, he might be able to get an advantage. I do have 12. He has 11, so everyone that he loses is really going to be felt. I think the key in this game for me is how much guard I have in Strength 5. He's not going to be able to dodge away much. His Goblins will, but his Black Orcs won't. So I could tie up quite a bit of his Black Orcs. But if his Black Orcs can knock out some of my players early, he can start out-strengthening me. Or if he can separate my mummies and lead them away from the rest of my line with tagging. I mean, Black Orcs are armor 10. I'm not going to be breaking much armor. I do have Mighty Blow, but still, it's not going to be. He's going to be easier said than done to try and knock him out. So I'm just going to try to dictate the field with my guard and Strength 5. I think the key player for this game is going to be my Throw-Ra, honestly, and not on offense. When he's going to be on defense, he's going to be the key. He's going to have block and tackle, which is going to come in super big. And I think on the other side, John's players, and I'm going to try to focus on him early, is his sneaky get goblins. I'm going to try to focus on all of his goblins, because if I can knock them out early, then he doesn't have any AG3 guys to pick the ball up and dodge away. So I'm probably going to focus on his non-journeyman goblins first to try to knock them out. Then what that will do is he'll still have a couple goblins on the pitch, but they'll be loner 4+. So if they fail a pickup, if they fail that second dodge, he'll have to do a 4-up to try to use a reroll, and that could be really painful. It could be, yeah. But I do see a 1-0 victory for me. Yeah, John's got some interesting choices and skills I think I would get rid of. I think he's got like a leap player goblin with jump up. I think I'd just fire him. It's just not. Those are just not good skills. They're not good skills. Maybe jump up, but that would be like a 4th skill if you put on him. But it should just be sneaky get, and maybe you can do some random secondary skills to try to fish for some like cool like wrestle or block or strip ball or dirty player. Yeah, it should be sidestep, sneaky get, diving tackle, and that's the only 3 skills you should get from the skill tree on that team. And you could random it, and whatever you get, if it's not that, fire them, and then just start it new. Because 3-star player points, that's just 1 touchdown. So spread the wealth around for your players and just try to score a touchdown, 1 on each guy. Try to do randoms or 2 touchdowns, then try to do a random secondary skill and see what you get. But helps keep the team value low, which you need the bribes. So that's what I would do. But I do see a 1-0 victory for my Tomb Kings. Here's the next big game. Oak City versus Tar Heels for the first spot, for that top tier spot. Well, I think Luke still has it because he's at 15. Yeah, he's still going to be top. Even if he loses this match, he's still going to be top seed. But it's going to be a good game. Luke's going to actually have some gold to spend, 145K. What could he get with 145? It's kind of weird because I feel like Necromantic don't have a lot of good star players that are cheap. You could take Helmet Wolf. Maybe. It might be. Still, it's a chainsaw. I don't trust chainsaws only on the Goblin team. Especially if you can't get a bribe. They'll end up rolling a 1 at some point in the drive and then kicking back and knocking themselves out. So, yeah. DJ doesn't like chainsaws either. So you could take him, or you could take a bribe and maybe some like mascots or something. 2 coaches. But I don't know if that's Helmet Wolf is worth it. But it's an option. I think Darcy the werewolf is going to be the key one in this. Block and dodge and claws are really good, especially against some like in frenzy. He could really do a lot of damage with that werewolf with claws. He has a ton of movement with movement 8. He's got frenzy, so he could do some surfing. And he's got block and dodge, so he can make a really good ball carrier and safety. So looking for him to have a big game. I do think this is Luke's going to continue to have an undefeated season. He's going to end up, I think, with a 2-1 victory. But on the other side, I think Garrig is going to have a big game. Garrig is the Tar Hooves beast man who's got block, tackle, mighty blow, and he should just be blitzing those ghouls every chance he gets. Knock them out early. They don't have regen, so they just whatever happens to them, so they die. So I would just focus blitzing on them and then start trying to knock the other guys around. He does also have a claws, a claw player too. So I would use those against the Chaos Warrior or against the whatever the stand firm guys are, the strength 10. I think it's like Frankenstein looking guys. So he could do that. But I still do think that Luke's going to end up winning this 2-1. This is another big game, especially for both of these players. I think Rocky Mountain Rotters really need to win this one because it could put them in a. Right now, they're in a playoff spot, but if they have a loss and the wrong things happen, they could be out of the playoffs. So, again, most of the teams are still in the hunt. Even the bottom tier team has still got a chance. They need a lot of help, but everybody else from like third place to like 12th, 13th place. They're all right there, and all they need is some wins to win out, and maybe a couple players to lose, or even just get a tie, and it shuffles some things around. So we got the Rocky Mountain Marauders, and they're going to be going. This is the Nurgle team versus the Dark Elf team, all the Madmen. Let's take a look. Rocky Mountain Marauders are going to have. His tackle piece is going to be important, I think, in this game. He's going to have. Rocky Mountain Marauders are going to have 190k in inducements. So you could go one of two ways. You go Skitter and a mascot, or Creek Rust Gouger. I personally like Skitter. You have Stab. You've got a Movement 8 Gutter Runner with Dodge. He can be your ball carrier, or he could be a defensive player. Because there's a lot of Armor 8, Stab is not a bad idea. Yeah, because he's got 6 Armor 8 guys. Yeah, I like Skitter in this one. Now you've got a ball carrier. You've got a guy that can make some crazy plays and do a stab move, which is safe. You don't fail. Whereas Creek, yeah, he's good. Creek's really good. But if you're playing a Dark Elf team, they can score pretty quick. Yeah, Creek comes back once per game, but if the Dark Elves score fast, you're not. Yeah, he's got prehensile talent, but they're still dodging on a 3, and they got block and dodge everywhere. So Creek's not going to knock people over. I think Skitter's the way to go. Yeah. I talked earlier. I think Serpent Scar, which is Nurgle Pestigore, I think he's going to be one of their standout players this game because he's got tackle. I think it's needed. And then on the other side, Velvet Goldmine is the Witch Elf for the Madmen. I think it's going to be big for them. Depending on what Eddie takes, I see either a 3-1 or a 3-2 victory for the Madmen. I just think they got so much dodge and block, and but if Skitter comes in, he can score pretty quickly. So I think it could be a shootout. I really do. Even it should be an interesting game. But we do give this one to the Madmen. Let's see. Who's the next matchup? Mirkwood Marauders versus the Selicalo Cajarino. That is the Wood Elf versus Amazon. So Amazon's going to have 75k in inducements. I think you just take a keg and a coach. I don't think there's much else that you can. You're not quite enough to get anything else, so that's what I would do. I think this is the game of the week. I think both of these guys need to win. They're set. They're a pretty good spot for the playoff, but I really think both of these guys need a win to really put themselves in a higher ranking, to get themselves a nice first round matchups for the playoffs. And I think if they can win this, I think they've solidified a spot in the playoffs as well, both of them. So I think this is a big game because they're both good coaches. I do see Gionice of the Amazons being their standout player. And even though this player doesn't have a lot of skills, and the only skill they have is random, it's sure hands. And I think that's going to be big in this game because I think on the other side of the ball, Thursarat and Fira having strip balls can be they're going to be defensively, they're going to be able to get the ball loose. So I'm thinking that you're going to see Gionice be the main ball carrier of this game, get a couple touchdowns hopefully, and is able to level up and get block, dodge, sure hands. And that's the perfect ball carrier. So, but we do see a 2-2 tie. Because the Amazons, they're a good bashy team, and the Wood Elves are missing their treemen. They're not going to be able to tie up a bunch of linemen, but they still have dodge. They can dodge away from a tree. But the Wood Elves are super fast and can score at will. They do have the strip ball. Sure feet is an interesting skill. It's not a skill I would have chose, but I would have went tackle, sidestep first, maybe tackle, diving tackle, sidestep. Those are 3 really good combos. But strip ball, next skill should be tackle. Maybe he'll get to level them up before this game, which is probably what I would do. I would take tackle now. Or he's waiting for Mighty Blow. Mighty Blow's good too. For a double. But Thirst Ride has strip ball. I thought they had sure hands. Oh. Well, that's going to be big. Strip. Yeah. Yeah. So, I still think it's going to be a 2-2 victory. Or 2-2 tie. Now, Coconut Cloppers versus the Fumblebees. We have got 165K in inducements for the Goblin team. I think 2 Bribes and Bomber is the way to go. I think that Fumblebees love Bomber, and I think this is the perfect game for him. Just don't throw it towards a Blitzer, the Noble Blitzer, because he has a catch skill. So you don't want him throwing it back. But I do think they have a good chance to do some damage with Bomber Dribble Slide. And 2 Bribes should keep a lot of those weapons on the field. Chainsaw should do some work and just target the leauge players. But we think behind you, Ben from the Fumblebees is going to be one of the star players. Had a nice game last game and was able to remove quite a bit of Wood Elves from the field with fouling. So we see the same thing. I would probably just start fouling the stand firm wrestle guys and the linemen first, get the cheap chaff out of the way. Although both sides have deep benches, so they're going to have to do a lot of damage. And then on the other side, Duke Mumsford. I think that's the block dodge Blitzer. I'm pretty sure should have a big game. But we do see a 2-1 victory for the Coconut Cloppers. They're firing on all cylinders right now. And they are really moving up in the rankings. Next matchup is going to be Deep Freeze versus Snot Flingers. The Goblins versus Norse. What do we see, DJ? 155K in inducements for the Sun Drop. Now, I think that 3 Bribes is good, or Bomber and Bribes, but I'm thinking just 3 Bribes. I think that although you want to keep your team value low, I think it's time to start leveling some players up. I'm not sure why you're holding on to 12-star player points with Bama. You've given him MVP 3 times, but you've done nothing with it. I think it's time to do something. I probably would have given MVPs to Trolls first, and maybe Looney or Fnatic or something. But yeah, you need to start. You got some upgrades you could do. You might want to use them while you have them. This has done no level ups, none at all the whole season. But doesn't have a lot of distributing star player points anywhere. So yeah, needs to really start thinking about leveling his players up to try to get some skills. I know you want to keep them low, but I do think Zergura is going to have a nice game, and that's the ball and chain. Norse they don't have dodge, they have block, unless the Norse throw some crazy 2-die uphill blocks, which is not a bad idea. Throwing 2-die blocks at the ball and chain uphill without block, there's a good chance that you can knock him down. Again, once a Fnatic gets knocked down, it's an immediate knockout. You roll straight injury rolls, so you can take him out. But Norse only have armor 8, so if you can throw a bunch, if you can move your ball and chain multiple times and hit multiple guys, you could really clear that pitch within a couple turns. So I'm thinking he might have a big game if he's utilized right. Utilize him on offense, not on defense. Try to get the ball first as a Goblin to try to knock out as many of those Norse as possible, because Van does not have a bench. He's only going to have 11 players, so every player gone is going to help you. So clear the pitch as fast as possible. Get the ball. On the other side, though, I think Duna and Horsk are the blitzer, or they're blitzers? They're blitzers, the ones of Frenzy and Block, strength 3 guys. They're going to have a big game because I think Frenzy is going to be important. And I think they're going to be able to take the second shots at Goblins when they don't knock them over the first time and really start racking up some kills. And the fact that they've got strength access, you can give them Mighty Blow or Guard, which is kind of an important skill. But we do see the Deep Freeze winning this 2-1. As long as they don't get murdered right off the bat, first turn of the game, I think that they have a good chance. But they're going to have to chew through a lot of players because the Goblins got a deep bench. And then the last game is Clayton Cutters. This is a Dark Elf team versus the Dumbo's Elephants. This is a Dwarf team. Let's see. So we see 20K in inducements for the Elephants. So they're just going to get a coach. That's the best inducement for 20. Not going to get much. He does have a couple players that need to get leveled. He's got 3 players that need to get leveled up. He should be giving all 3 of them guard. He's the same as the other Goblin coach. He's not leveled his players up the entire season. Not sure why. But he does have his Dwarf runner back, which is good. He's got a little bit of a treasury. So if something happens, he can save up and repurchase with players. He does have 13. I think get rid of one. Get rid of one of those players. Then you could get yourself a keg. Or you could get yourself 90K. I'm not sure what 90K gets you. But I would probably fire one of these dwarves. Clayton Cutters really need this win. They really need this win. If they can win the next 2, and I think if the Rotters lose their next 2, Clayton gets into the gets a playoff spot. So they need this. This is big. But there are a lot of big games. Gettysburg, Sundrop, Fumblebees, Clayton Cutters, even Rocky Mountain Rotters, and even me, some of my, there's a possibility that some of us could still get knocked out of the playoffs. It would take a lot, but there is still a possibility. But the teams that are kind of still struggling and haven't really, they only got 3 points. They're kind of like the Gettysburg Steelers, the Sundrop Snufflings, and the Fumblebees. They're still in the hunt, but they have to win these next game, this next game. And they've got some really tough matchups. All 3 of them are going against some tough players, and I think they're going to have a hard time. But the Clayton Cutters, they have to win these next ones, just like the others. But they also need a little extra to get them a spot in the playoffs. I believe the Elephants are out of the playoffs. I don't think, even if they win out, and I think that they're out. I don't think they stand a chance. Or if they did, it's a Hail Mary. But I do think they're the only team that is out of the playoff hunt. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I do think that the Clayton Cutters are going to end up with a 2-1 victory, just because, again, they have speed. They've got a bench, so they can take some risks. They got 13. So dodge is not going to help them because Dwarves have tackle, but I think that the key to this team is going to be all the block. They've got a decent amount of block wrestle on their team, and that's going to help them not get knocked down by the Dwarves and just be in a good position to punch back. So I think that's going to be the key to this game. And I think that Agadome for the Dwarf team, he's going to be their main scorer. He's the Dwarf runner. I think he's going to be the main one. And then again, I talked about all that block on the Clayton Cutters, which could come in handy. So we've talked about our predictions. Let's go over the honors. We'll start out with the coaches. Most experienced coach, Luke. No surprise there. I think overall ranking with Shifting Sands, I'm pretty high up. Let's see, what else is important? Most value, high value. So Green and Gabe are both got high team value teams. It's not a surprise. Dark Elves are kind of pricey, and as Chaos Chosen start leveling up, they get pricey too. But the higher the team value, the better, in my opinion, Chaos Chosen can get. Most experienced, Oak City, they've won 5 games, so they're racking up points and casualties, so they've got the most star player points to level up their players. Mirkwood Marauders have really jumped up and have taken the offensive powerhouse with 12 touchdowns, and they got 3 touchdowns in the last game, which we max out in our league at 3 touchdowns, as long as your opponent doesn't have any. The minute you get 3 or more, the game ends. So he racked up some points. Tar Hooves still have the best defense by a mile, with only giving up 1 touchdown the whole season. That's really good in our league. I've got the most kills, but Rocky Mountain Marauders really moved up quite a bit and are now in second. I've killed the most people. I've doubled everybody else, but that's what my team does. I get in your face and I punch you and kick you. And Deep Freeze has got the most completions. Mirkwood Marauders didn't really pass much last game. I think they didn't need to, so they didn't jump up as far as I thought they would. But Deep Freeze got the most completions. And of course, Luke's team has got 5 consecutive wins, and then everybody else has got like 3 or 2 below them. Now, let's look at the individual players. Darcy's got his most expensive. Block and dodge on a werewolf will get you there quick. Some of these other guys are all right in the same place. It's just a big guy with 1 skill given, so haven't really leveled them up much, but they are a little pricey. Pogos are always higher up in terms of like stunty price, but they're your main ball carrier, so they're going to level up quick. Most experienced, Garrick has really, since like game 3 or 2, when he played me, has really just skyrocketed in star player points. But he's got block, tackle, and mighty blow already. I think he's the only player in our league with 3 skills in his first season. So he's really proven to be a standout player. So if the Tar Hooves come back, I guarantee you'll see this guy. Trash Hide for Oak City has got 6 touchdowns. And there's quite a few people right here at 5. Again, Garrick just killing everything with 6 casualties. The Vans Deep Freeze Sivia got 6 completions. So, thanks for listening. We're going to take 2 weeks, come back, talk about next round. That will be round 7. We've only got, after this month, only 1 more month, and then the playoffs start. But it's looking to really start. We're in crunch time now. So what happens in this round, I think, is going to set the playoffs. Then after this, wins and losses are just going to be trying to champion yourself to get to a better tiering, so that you don't have tough matchups right off the bat. Because in our playoffs, for example, if we're doing 8 players, for right now, Oak City would be playing the Cajarino Amazons. Hooves would be playing the Mirkwood Marauders. Sands would be playing the Cloppers, and Deep Freeze would be playing all the Madmen. So yeah, everybody wants to try to put themselves in a better position so that they can play not to say a weaker opponent, but not as a tough challenges right off the bat. You want to try to make your playoff run as easy as possible. So the higher up you can get, theoretically, it should be an easier run. But these are all good players, man. You see them all taking it. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.